and welcome to DCP episode 479. Today...
Not true. We'll take it.
You said it with such confidence. I was like, yeah, must be.
Must be.
425.
We had 420 not that long ago, so 479 is actually not totally unreasonable.
Now that.
Congrats on a 10-year partnerversary, Watts.
Thank you.
You've been celebrating?
No.
It looks like. For those listening, Watts is dressed as...
I am a kitsune, fox spirit.
She's had some fox spirits.
I have. I've been drinking.
Sounds like a good drink brand.
Junmai sake.
Hot or cold?
I actually did all of it. I started with it chilled, and then I had a little bit warm, and then, sake cups are so tiny that I decided to just bring it in here with me. So
yeah,
now it's room
Smart.
temperature.
Do you prefer cold sake or hot sake?
I think it depends on what I really do like warm sake.
Depends what it is, right? Because some of it needs to be.
For sure.
I think I like it warm in general. I like the experience of it being warm. Like a cold day, warm sake. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I could be misinformed, but I had understood that, hot sake is generally trash, and that's why it's warm. It's not that it's bad. It's just compared to the good stuff. They're just like, you're never going to get a really good sake that's like hot, because why would you do that?
I don't know.
I had understood.
You have to make sure it's at a very specific temperature, otherwise it can. You just don't want to boil it. If you boil it, it can end up like ruining the taste.
But I thought they didn't use generally the really good stuff for hot sake.
Surely, if you boil it, does it get stronger? Because you like evaporate, it would just like would it just not leave like more alcohol content?
I think it would burn it, like Watts is indicating. I don't really know what.
I like it.
By the way, I like hot sake. It's just if I'm gonna drink sake, especially with like a meal, and as you can tell, I'm a complete snob about it. Sorry, but I like cold. It's so good. There's so many different tastes with it.
That's why I got this one, because this one is good chilled, room temperature, warm, or used for cooking. So it's kind of just like, if you want a solid sake that is pretty good everywhere across the board, then this is the one. Yeah. But we've had a great day. Yeah.
I just imagine what's like a little bit for the cooking, a little bit for me.
Yeah.
It's been a good day. We celebrated 10 years being partnered on Twitch, which is pretty crazy.
10 years of being partnered. I was thinking 10 years of being on Twitch. Wow. How long did it take you to get partnered?
I was partnered right away.
Immediately.
Yeah. So my journey was
because of YouTube?
Yeah, so I did do a stream before I was partnered, but my first ever stream was at the Titanfall 1 launch event in England. I didn't have a Twitch account before then. They wanted to live stream the event, so I had to make a Twitch account and stream there. So that was my first ever stream. I then tried to stream after that, but had constant audio issues, didn't know how to fix it, so I gave up. And then Bungie was working with a charity for Trials of Osiris first coming out, and they wanted to do it was me, Triple Wreck, Fizzor, and Laced Up Lauren, and we were racing to see who could go first to the lighthouse, and whoever got first got the most amount of charity money to give to a charity of their choice. But because they were doing that, they wanted everyone to be partnered, because I guess it made it look a little bit better that you're doing an official Bungie sponsored thing and you have a check mark. So I was partnered right away for that.
Bungie's like, yo, Twitch, give her a sub button.
Pretty much, yeah. And then my journey with Twitch was kind of crazy, because I then went to the Forsaken E3. So I was at E3 when they were talking about Forsaken, and streaming was going really good. So at that time, 2015, 10 years ago. So at that time, it was a few people who used to work at Twitch back then who were at the party, and they came and talked to me, and they were like, your stream's going really well. We want to put you on a 70-30 contract for Twitch. And I was like, yeah.
It's just different times. Now it's you got to fight them.
Completely different. So I've been on 70-30 the entire time, because there are some people who were on 70/30 who had to then earn it back because they went to Facebook or, any of the other platforms. But because I never left, I've been on 70/30 the whole time.
Forsaken feels not like it's 10 years ago. Is that really 10 years ago?
It's a long time.
No, it can't be 10 years ago.
Yeah, it is. 2014 at Destiny release, and then like September of.
When did Forsaken come out?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Taken King. I misspoke. I was not listening closely.
I am talking about the Taken King.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, but see, she was talking about it. So it's funny because I heard it as the Taken King.
You heard Taken King.
It was September 2015. So it's almost.
It's this arcade. Don't worry about it.
It's almost 10
So,
years.
but what's interesting? I knew what she was talking about because of the 10-year anniversary thing, too.
Yeah,
and so I completely heard it as that, which was true. And it's also because she's talking about E3. But anyway.
It's also, it's actually
she
just.
definitely said for a second.
It just came up on the 10-year anniversary of House of Wolves. And that's when Trials came out. And that's when I was partnered around House of Wolves.
So, on stream, did you do your Dolly Doctor at all? Did you take some phone calls and give some relationship advice?
We drank a lot. I ate a cupcake. I got happy birthday cups because it's the lamb's birthday. They're 10 today.
Oh, nice.
Bunch of alcoholics. And then we ate a bunch of rice crackers. I got mochi in here.
Just all Japanese snacks, huh?
All Japanese snacks. Drew on my face. And then we watched a bunch of stuff.
Any fish in it?
I don't think so.
Good. It's my favorite Japanese snack game to play is when you go to like a Lawson's or I haven't been in forever, but you're like, is there fish in it? You buy it because like if you can't read all the or any of the Japanese, you're like, is there fish in it? It could even be like on the little like cold snacks. And there's a decent chance.
There's a decent chance. Yeah. Yeah, it's we did a lot of stuff. We watched trailers for all sorts of stuff. And then I ended up deciding playing some random game, which we'll talk about maybe.
Oh, nice.
But initially, I was wearing this because we were going to play Onimusha, right? So I was looking up yokai.
Is that coming out?
It's out right now.
Today, or?
Well, Onimusha 2 Remastered is out today.
Oh, okay.
So not the new one. That's next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Right.
So I was dressing up as a yokai, but all of the yokai that are cool require me to learn like VFX makeup, and
oh god,
I don't know about that right now. So I was like, what's the easiest? A fox spirit thing. So here we are.
You look great.
And so thank you very much. Thank you.
We should remind folks that last week, if you tuned in, we interviewed Thomas Mahler.
We did.
Oh yeah,
Moon Studios. So we didn't have like a full episode in terms of like our usual, but it was a great interview. I thought
it was great. I thought it was good.
It was fun. Catch it.
I haven't checked the comments on it, and if people enjoyed it or not, but hopefully.
I think so.
I've been meaning to check out No Rest of the Wicked, but I got caught up doing a bunch of other games this week.
Yeah, it's like that's what I was thinking about. Is like where should we start? I like.
Can we start with Marathon?
We have not talked about the Marathon madness at all.
It feels like a lot's happened in a week. Like, I feel like it's been multiple weeks.
Yeah. You want to set it up for us? Or?
Yeah. So,
yeah. Watts is a better historian when it comes to internet. I
do know too much. It's true. What's your weekly screen time on your phone? Check that. Everyone, check that while I'm yapping.
Okay,
it's a lot.
Total screen time.
I play a lot of Pokemon.
Dude, I fall asleep with it on sometimes, so it's kind of.
Look at Fran making excuses.
Excuses.
What I type in screen time?
Yep.
Screen time and settings. Yeah.
My daily average is. Am I revealing this or not?
Sure. Yeah. What's your daily average?
6.5 hours.
Oh, mine's like 10.
Holy crap.
Oh.
Do you use it while streaming?
I'm not seeing it screen time out.
Wow. Must be all those late night FM3 streams.
Is it called something different on Android?
Ooh, maybe. I'll start yapping while you look that up. You can interrupt me though.
This has to do with Marathon or?
No.
We're like, let's. Well, wait a second. We're like, should we give a background on Marathon? And
I'm giving a background.
Yeah. So, and then Watts was like, I got this. And then
Myelin said I was an internet historian, and I said, well, that's because I'm on the internet literally all the time. Yep.
Well,
I'm gonna leave it.
It looks around daily average 5 hours 50.
Wow.
Jesus.
About the same.
And you're content creators?
Watts, that's a lot, to be fair. But I do use my computer.
Mine's 9 hour 40.
Playing Pokemon.
I use my computer for a lot though, but I'm on my phone. I would say a lot.
Anyway, so Marathon is Bungie's other game that's coming out. It's coming out later this year. And there's been a little bit of a hubbub because there is an artist called Anti-Real who came out and said, hey, looks like there is straight up my assets in the alpha of Marathon. And this was like straight up
evidence.
Provided very like you cannot deny it evidence. This is not one of
like
those situations where you're like, I guess I could kind of see how that's inspired. This was like a straight up copy paste.
Was like faded out.
Yeah, I think that was Unreal also had baked in some visual like watermarking as well, like things that wouldn't maybe make sense, but that if that happened too. I mean, either way, they admitted it's not even a question now.
Yeah, so it is definite. Bungie came forward and admitted it, and then a couple of days later had a live stream where they kind of talked about it as well. And they're, of course, like trying to make things right with the artist. We don't know what that's going to look like yet, whether that's like contract work, whether that's scrubbing the game of all of it and giving them some kind of compensation. We don't know. But yeah, definitely not good.
Exactly.
No.
And the live stream was,
oh my god,
everyone looked incredibly nervous.
I don't know why they did that live stream, man.
I actually don't know.
And there was obviously a lot of technical issues as well, like with audio and cameras.
Well, they pulled footage because they couldn't show any. They were going to show some more footage.
They were going to show stuff.
I know it was painful, but I do kind of think it was the right call. Like, it was a painful live stream, but
I don't think so. The reason
you don't reckon?
So I think there was another way to do it. I think what they could have done is like put up a video with the same people, right? The director and Joe Cross, have them up there in a video and go, look, we planned a live stream today, but in order to do right by Anti-Real and by our community, we want to postpone this stream until because we want to show you stuff. We can't show you until we scrub everything and make sure we are not continuing to use art against the wishes of the artist. So, and then they can do a statement on the art debacle. And then they could say, depending on how long it's going to take, we'll give you guys an update of when the stream will be, but we want to actually be able to show you stuff. We want to come to you with something. Yeah. And then they could have also made sure that the audio was working. I mean, I know this was planned and maybe it still would have not been working, but I just think that I don't think this was really good for anyone, because it's good that they weren't running away from it, but I think they could have done that with a video, just being like really honest and addressing it and just being like, hey, we'll have a stream when we can show you the footage that we want to show you, because they had footage they wanted to show us and they couldn't do any of it. They were just sitting there going, yeah, we're planning on doing this thing. So
yeah, they did do a lot of talking. I did walk away thinking that it was very genuine, even though if it wasn't high level of, like, not professional is the wrong word, but there was technical issues with it. But I did walk away going, seemed like a very genuine apology and addressing the situation. And I actually liked a lot of the things they talked about in Marathon, because they did a lot of, technically comparisons to Arc Raiders. I mean, really just all the feedback they got from a week of Arc Raiders Marathon being out, the alpha being out, and how much things they need to work on. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, they did need to show some other stuff too, but
what I wanted to get out there is, I think, the state of Marathon today, this week especially, is Marathon is cooked from the content creator and reporter community. You got Paul Tassi putting up his feelings on how this has all gone. It's a lot about, will the game make it? Will it be a success? And then now you've got everybody jumping on that because, it's a huge debacle. But I would remind, we went from, they kind of have like this closed play test that nobody's going to see. And they revealed the game. They showed it to some people. And then they're like, you know what? We don't want it leaking. So we'll just put it out there. We'll show you what we got for this closed play test. And then we'll show you more. So we went from that to a little opening up to not. So then they have this like half closed alpha that you can't get into very easily. So anyway, they went from all that, and then our let's call it Art Raiders. Arc Raiders. They're not going to get away from that one soon. But Arc Raiders comes out and shows like, hey, we have a ton of this traditional extraction stuff. And also like this thing is very polished at this point. And a bunch of people like days after they played just a slice of a closed playtest, they're super up on Arc Raiders. And then the plagiarism thing hit and Bungie's like, crap. And then they had to pull everything. So it's, all I would remind is we're at a point where it went from, I don't know if the game's for me, I kind of want to see more, to this game is cooked. And for me, all I want to put out there is there are two conversations to have, which I get why people want to talk about games being successful. And I think it makes for really interesting discussion. But I really like talking about the game. I just played I played FBC Firebreak. We didn't get to talk about it. But like an unfinished game in an early state and like, is it going to be any good based on what you played? To me, it's two very different things. And the conversation right now is all business. Is Sony cooked? Is Bungie cooked? Is the art cooked? But I don't know how you guys feel about where that's gone and all that. But I feel like we're not talking about the game anymore.
I read some of Paul's article and I saw some videos about it. And yeah, look, we're all friends with Paul here. I probably disagree with him on kind of a lot of things to do with like Marathon can't recover.
Right.
It's good though, because I think Paul does represent a lot of Destiny players and people in the loot and shoot genre that are just really not interested in extraction shooters.
Yeah.
And I'll acknowledge my bias being the opposite end of that, is like I'm actually really into extraction shooters and I love Arc Raiders and all this kind of stuff. So like I'm definitely on the other end of the scale. And I definitely walked away from the live stream when they were talking about the improvements, things I want to work on. They kind of hit all the checklists that I made a video about what I think needs to happen in Marathon to improve. They're talking about enemies and environment and tension and atmosphere and a bunch of balancing stuff, which are maybe a little bit less important because it can always happen later. But a lot of big ticket items I think they were talking about, with the exception of the solo and the prox chat. Like I think that was really the only big ticket item that was still kind of like, we're talking about it, we're discussing, but they hit a lot of other points, I think, which will make a big difference to Marathon's launch. I think the question is just like how much is already done and can they get it done in time?
Right.
Rather than it's a guaranteed fail.
Did you watch that whole Play MA stream then, Myelin?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was my thing. I basically I just saw the reporting on it and I was busy that day. I think I was still on jury duty and stuff at the time. I can't remember, but different story. But I walked away with like there was no new info. I mean, was what came out of it that was substantial? We can't show you, but here's what we're doing. Did they really have anything in that stream that was like substantial?
Look, I honestly I never really planned on covering this. I kind of forgot we have a podcast every week, so I didn't really make
sorry to
I didn't really make notes, but if you would be critical of it, there was a lot of talking about talking, and I think Bungie's pretty classic at like saying the right things and maybe not necessarily delivering the right things. So I walked away going, I feel like they kind of got really. I walked away going they actually got really good feedback from the alpha, and if they can implement everything they're talking about, Marathon's going to be in a much better position as last time. Like I feel like they were definitely on the right track from the way they were talking. But this is the thing. It's just like, I often think that about Bungie and Destiny. Like when we ever have these, it doesn't matter if it's Destiny or Marathon, whatever, it's like a lot of high level thinking and it's like, yeah, that's about right. But then it's like, what's delivered, does that achieve that level of thinking? And, Marathon's not at the way they're talking and thinking right now from the live stream.
That, to be fair, that is what I heard from it. I think it was, I was looking for new info, but it was very much, we heard you. This is an issue. We agree with you. We want to work on that. This is an issue. Project. We want to work on that. That I think was what they were trying to get out there. And I get that was good. But in the midst of this firestorm, it just all fell on deaf ears. Like I'm a perfect example where I do want to know more about it. But I'm like, you had a closed playtest that's like I don't know what slice of the game. And everybody's talking about this art nonsense, and you come out and you're like, well, we want to balance things out and work out. I'm like, that is not a message that is remotely exciting. And so that for me is like the issue I have with Marathon right now is it actually is a game that I'm interested in. It's a genre I'm interested in. I'm never going to be a hardcore, like, I'm going to main this game, because it requires so many hours, usually, whether it's the Apex Legends or if it's an extraction shooter. But I do like playing them. But anyway, what I would say to Bungie is you need to, the next time you come out, you have to give us something to be excited about.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Now,
Yeah.
they have this issue that they can't even show stuff. So now they're in this, like, you're in this quiet eye of the storm. So what are they going to do? If they need to be able to show stuff. I think a produced
Yeah.
video would be the track forward, because you don't have to show a bunch of stuff. But I know you got more stuff, and it would be a teaser, clear it with legal. Just say, look, we hear you. Is it? And I mean, they got to decide if it's still coming out. I think it's going to take them a while to figure all this out if it's
Yeah.
coming out in September. But anyway, I think you need to give the audience something to be excited about. If you don't have it, you're better off just being like, this was the most of it, and you're right. We want to work on this with you as a community, but it's going to take time. We're going to delay it. And I think there's somewhere in between that. The confidence in it launching in September for me, again, is the quantity of what's in the game. I'm like, I'm interested, but what you showed me, I'm like, well, is that it? Or like you have a lot more to show?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to show the marathon, like the stage, the marathon.
I
They need to
think
show the
so.
ship
The USEC ship, yeah.
or a big, even if it's like cinematic and not,
The
you
third
know,
map.
like a Destiny trailer, right? Like,
Mhm.
dude pushing a scary marathon haunted ship with the fit on the compilers on there, like an enemy type. Just, you know, make it like you make all your
No, I
Destiny
totally
trailers.
agree. Yeah, and I know that they're like wanting to keep things secret and they
I
want
think you
this
want
to
to
be
keep it a
like a
secret,
woo, but
yeah.
at this point you gotta show your
Need to
cards.
pump up.
You gotta get people
Yeah.
excited. People are asking, well, what else is there? What more is there? And if you have the answer to that, I think it's now you just gotta show it. You're just gonna have to.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you nailed it, which is you don't even have to spoil it. You can do it in the way
Yeah.
they've done a lot of Destiny stuff. Is you're teasing, you've got mood, you've got a lot of art and inspiration, and like that, and that is where they're caught. And again, to boil it down, it's like I see two levels: Dire Marsh and Perimeter, and they feel similar visually. One is bigger than the other and different map design, and I can appreciate that. But then again, I'm looking at Marathon. I'm like, well, I'm interested, but I'm like, is the third map dramatically different? And also, what about PvE and all? Like, is the playtest old and there is a lot more to show or not? And maybe I've missed it from them. I have not gotten any confidence that they're like, guys, there's a lot more to this game. What I've gotten from them is we can move faster than you'd think. But I'm like,
Yeah.
but are you saying this is the most of it? There's just another couple maps that are slightly different. And one is like raid-like, or dungeon-like, but that's still not from the core gameplay loop. You see what I'm getting at, right? It's like, what do you really have like this big platter of meat and veg to like throw out there? I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to try that out.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see, because now they also have to like go through and see just how extensive the art plagiarism is. Like if it's, a couple things, then we're looking in a much better state for them getting on track with creating other content. But if it's a lot of things, then, that's going to be a big job, and that's going to further delay other stuff coming to the game. So
yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, look, and whatever this settlement is, just like hire them and pay them. And I would, the problem is in most cases, that person's like, why would I do that? It's going to be a bunch of work for the same or less money, when like, just pay me a ton because you took advantage, whether, it's an ex-employee.
I want to know who the ex-employee is either. I want to also, because it just feels weird that it's like, I don't want to witch hunt them, but it's a bit weird that like you can
did steal.
You can just do this and then you're fine to like go get another job in the industry, or,
Yeah, no, and I think Bungie and PlayStation is certainly super litigious, so I wonder how they approach that, throwing someone under the bus. But like, I do agree that, I mean, yeah, like without saying the name of someone, it just feels kind of like a lot of the blame.
Yeah, they used to be there and they're not there here anymore. So
yeah, regardless, like Bungie missed it, has the process, and it is going to fall on Bungie regardless. But yeah, for something about not being able to say like, this is I think here's what it is. I don't know how long or the credibility of this person. Was this just like a freelancer you had on, or I should say a contractor that you had on for a couple of years, and it doesn't excuse it, but it gives you more context than this was this someone who like,
Yeah.
worked on
Right.
ODST?
Right.
I doubt it.
I
Was
think
this
I
a
think they'll
previous
obviously they'll
art
handle this.
director, maybe?
They'll handle this
That
all
would be crazy.
internally. You know, we won't really find out this stuff. But I mean, I can kind
Maybe
of
it'll leak.
I've been hearing like a lot of people talk about this and like why don't they have checks and balances? And I did obviously contract work for the anthology, and like I couldn't believe how much rope I could have done whatever the fuck I want with the anthology. Like there was literally nobody checking my work. Like if I wanted, I could have just changed every Grimble card and
Could have
it would have
plagiarized like
You
a
could have just
wiki.
put boobily ooglies and they'd be like, yeah, good.
yeah.
Print
Straight
it.
like I was only. I mean, this is kind of what I spoke to my stream about. It's like you do have to trust your employees at some point, right? And trust your team to do stuff. And but Bungie is so big, like you've also got to assume you're going to have some bad apples that are going to do that are going to use AI, that are going to steal things, that are going to change things around. Like so, it's like you have to have some mechanism in place, and obviously there wasn't something in place. And from my experience, there was nothing in place stopping me from doing stuff with the anthology. I just happened to do the right thing with it. I mean, some things almost were changed. Like this is, when I had that bad experience and they added people to the team, they just wanted to change like titles of cards and stuff. And I was like, no, you can't. Like, I know Last Word 2 is not very like thematically cool, but it's been Last Word. The Grimoire card's been Last Word 2 for the last 10 years. Like, let's not change it now because people will get like. This is a bigger conversation if you want to start changing like pieces of the Grimoire card to make it seem cooler. Like we got to talk to narrative and that, not just like go through publishing. So, I've always been surprised of like how much freedom I got. I was just literally go put the books together. You on your way.
But you nailed it, which is like when you hire people, even contractors, right? You look at some set of resume and reputation, et cetera, references, hopefully. I think that's where you ask questions here too, is like, did they hire someone and have references? We'll probably never know. But you need to have your process. But at the end of the day, you're hiring someone, you're going to trust someone based on, what you saw there. And like, meaning it's easy to say in hindsight, but the idea that like I don't know what the solution was, right? I mean, it's probably very expensive, and maybe some of the story is some of those things got cut in their layoffs. But the point I want to make here is like, it's easy to say in hindsight, you should have caught this. But as someone, I can, people are familiar with IGN and that plagiarism incident. Like, I built decades of a reputation. We all did. And IGN reviews already were turning into like, dude, they're so big, they must be paid for. Like, all of that was so ridiculous to me. And then you have someone that plagiarized, YouTuber, I believe. And the only way to catch that was like transcribing it was written, but you had to like feed it into Google and search for things. And like, it's kind of a crazy idea, right? That you're going to take everything someone's writing and feed it into Google. At the time, like AI couldn't even scrape as well, probably. So I'm not trying to excuse it. It's just like, it's so easy to be like, yeah, they should have had a process. And yeah, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. It's very different than like IGN, which was
well,
like
they're gonna have to look at this now, right? Because they can't afford to do it again. And like, I don't know.
They do.
I don't know enough about the whole process. And we've all seen the design process of anyone in the art team, and you take all this reference material. So like, does every manager need to check from conception to template that can go and stuff? Like, all right, show me your work, let's make sure you've done it. Like, but even then, like, you would have seen it. Like, you'd have to cross match it to. You could have looked at that and be like, okay, that looks like they've originally done it, but
so
how do you?
much work out there.
I don't know.
I want to be.
This is not an excuse for them. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
it's just really like when you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees,
people,
and now you have to say every time something gets checked in, you have to say, "All right, give me a little bit to check and make sure it's all original."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And again,
yeah.
I want to be clear that they do, and I'm not excusing it. And we know that they had what, the Nerf gun incident, where like fan art,
they had
wasn't
fan
that
art,
fan
a
art
cutscene.
So a fan was inspired by their art, made art, which made it back into the Hasbro, and like that's kind of crazy. But it's all different. I
feel that's a bit different.
They need to do more. Again, I'm not excusing.
They need to do more. They need to find a way.
Yeah, but I just wanted to come to the reality check of like, I mean, it's so easy to say in hindsight, but like somebody straight up was dishonest and stole inspiration from like, I mean, I can only imagine how many pieces of art inspiration they've looked at in graphic realism and brutalism. And like, I mean, it's insane how much of this stuff's out there. Granted, this particular style, they really seem to like. So that's I think why is that from the outside, you look at it, you're like, dang, a lot of the stuff in Perimeter and Dire Marsh look like her style, anti-real style. And that's why it looks so bad. So I don't know how they recover from that, but
yeah, I think that's another thing that's really hard is people are like, well, it's Anti-Real's entire art style, and it's like, well, okay, let's relax a little bit on that, because if you look at Joseph Cross's artwork from like 14 years ago,
right,
it looks like it could be a Marathon character. Like clearly he is someone who has had inspiration from Ghost in the Shell and all of these other inspirations that he's been honest about. So it's not the whole thing. Like there's a lot of artists that have a similar, inspiration and end up having a similar style to Marathon. But the thing that's bad is the direct copy and paste of her,
they stole
her signature and all that.
Yeah.
And so that's what they need to get rid of.
Yep. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're a week and a few days out of realizing that there's art plagiarism from this one artist so far. Hopefully that's it. And now they've shut the game down. And that's where I'm wondering, like, what is the next beat? How do they...
Well, now there's another beat of news with people talking to employees and ex-employees who are saying that they told upper management that they need to give a PvE component to this game, like a long time ago. They said that they've brought up various other things and they've just been shut down over and over again. And then some people have said that they hope that they get dissolved in Sony, or Sony does a full takeover, and they think that would be better. But this is where it's really hard, though. But they could be, but this is where it's hard, because I'm not going to say that any of those people are incorrect in what they're saying, because they very well could be correct, and that could be the best thing, and they could be being honest about it. But there's also situations of when you have thousands of employees who have gone through your door, and this is also part of Bungie's fault because they've let go a lot of people. There may be people that choose to take advantage of the situation to kind of pile on and get their voice heard, right? Because if I'm an employee running around and people are happy about Bungie and Destiny, and I'm like, I think they suck and Sony should take over, people be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. But in this situation, you're going to listen to them and you're going to want to interview them and you're going to want to hear from them. One thing is consistent, though, is that we've constantly heard that leadership is bad and they don't listen to their employees. They don't let the devs cook. In Final Shape, they actually allowed the devs to do stuff and listen to the players and give players what they wanted, and Final Shape ended up coming out a banger and players really liked it. So we know that that is true, and that is something they absolutely need to fix. They need to fix that. Yeah. We also heard that you couldn't make the Trials armor like look too good because it's going to make people not want to buy Eververse armor or something like that. Was mentioned in one of these articles talking to employees.
I was so happy to hear that report, only because it's something
I mean, it's true, though. Of course it's going to be true. Like, in any game that sells cosmetics,
Diablo does it.
You can't have the
free stuff look good.
You can't have the free stuff look good, but not too good.
But it's not even free because you're paying. It's usually the battle passes. It's not even free. It's like I mean, maybe I misread that, but it was what needs to be in the Eververse, not even what needs to be in a pass, which we know is true. It's the slippery slope. That's a different thing. But
that's a whole.
But yeah, I think we saw in these reports, and it didn't surprise. That's where it was like, like people have been complaining about leadership. There's tons of layoffs, toxic workplace stuff. We know it exists. What I will say is, you're going to hear from those people way more than the people that work there and are happy.
Yeah.
That it's just sort of, I'm not saying it's not true, because we see a clear theme here. But again, I go back to, like, I'm more than happy to talk about, do we think Bungie will be successful? What is Bungie's future? Will Marathon be a success? Will it have the player base? How much should it cost? But, like, I'm big on, is the game any good? Do we like it? And I feel like we just can't even talk about that right now. Which is fair.
Yeah, and we just don't know yet.
But I want to.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see, the game.
We need them to get past the drama. It's not just drama. Like, it's legitimate, like, bad things. It's not just, it's drama. They need to work past that, and then they can start hopefully showing us stuff that gets us excited about the game. They, I think, are planning a bunch of playtests for people to try the game again. So hopefully, we will soon be able to just judge the game based on the game and see what we think about it.
Exactly.
We'll see. It's
Hopefully,
in their court. The ball is in their court.
Yeah.
They have all the
It'll probably-
information in the world now to do it. So
yeah, let's see what they say is next. They'll probably take a quiet time until after Summer Games Fest at least, and then we'll go from there. Maybe there'll be more leaks and drama in the meantime.
yeah, I mean, I feel really bad for the devs because, like we said, there's hundreds of people on both Destiny and Marathon, and the fact like 99% of the devs are just like doing what they can with what they're given, with the budget, with the time, with the resources that they're given, and they are consistently being brought down and hammered on and having to deal with this awful environment because of what leadership does or the C-suite or what some one employee does. And it sucks. And I would love for them to be proud of what they've created and be able to stand there and go, yeah, I did this. And it's really cool and I really like it. But they just can't.
And all this happened after generally the Destiny community was happy to see Edge of Fate and Renegades. Like, of course, there's feedback, but meaning, they kind of had like, okay, people are unsure about Marathon, but people now they're super excited about the next Destiny. We kind of made it past that. And then days later, boom. So it sucks, right? I mean, it does suck for the super talented folks that do believe in what they're making and have this vision. So,
yeah. Personally, I think that like Bungie's too big. I think like this is, it seems like all like issues with having 800 employees because then you're going to have so many leaders, so many managers. Like it does makes, increase problems for you. And then you have people that slip through that are bad apples that you don't have checks in place for. Like it feels like they grew so big and then somehow still spread themselves thin across like 5 different projects.
Yeah.
Well, it gets,
do you know what I mean?
Right. It gets
but
rickety.
Overall, it would have been better being a medium-sized company focusing really hard on
one or two.
a single game and then,
slowly
having great
branching
leadership.
out. Not like, let's do 5 from 1. Woo!
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of that too many. I think you do get this too many cooks in the kitchen problem, and you see that big difference between Expedition 33 and like
exactly. Like look at indie games coming out.
Yeah. They did have
30 people on the team.
Yeah.
And that's just shows you when you get everyone going in the right direction and you've got a really strong vision for the game. I don't even like RPGs, ARPGs, whatever you want. It's turn-based RPGs. And I was like, this is really good. This is what happens when you get people passionate about like a genre and a game, and they just want to make the best thing ever. Compared to I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't mind like taking 2 minutes on FBC Firebreak if we move out of Marathon. To make a fast segue.
Anything last words to say about Marathon? I think we've basically said it. Look, I in general, I don't think it's over. I don't think Marathon's cooked. I think Sony's invested too much money in Bungie and Destiny had a pretty awful launch and it's still around 10 years later. But a PvP game is a bit different, and I do think they need to get it pretty close to right on launch, and they've got a lot of work to do. So I guess we'll just wait and see.
We'll wait and see. I'm rooting for them, though. I'm rooting. I don't want to see the death of Bungie. And
I
want them to get their stuff together. That's what I want. I want devs to be able to do what they do, what they've been hired for, rather than having to listen to executives that are like, well, based on our analytical research, if we add this and do this, we're going to make more money. And you know what?
Well,
the community is also doing that too in every game. And not just every game, every like branch of everything. People who watch sports are doing that. Well, what do we think of the investments of the CEO of our favorite sports team? That's
what I'm saying. Like,
it's everywhere. It's like, well, what are the Steam numbers? What are the sales records? And it's like, stop it. I don't want the people at the top doing that. I don't want us doing that. I want us to focus on creating stuff that is going to be fun and is going to be good for the community and good for the players, good for the people, good for the devs, not just how can we make line go up. Because guess what? When you do that, the line is not going up. It's not working.
You sound like the CEO of the Baldur's Gate team there. What's his name?
It's so true. We see it time and time again, right? And I think like Creamy said something in chat where I think we're seeing the death of AAA studios and the rise of indie dev. I think there is being a turn. I think there's a thing that happened in game development where teams got bigger and bigger, and budgets got bigger and bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
and timelines got longer and longer and longer. So now you
Yeah.
need like hundreds of millions of dollars to make this game.
Yeah.
So then you
That's
have
what I
to
was getting at
make
before.
hundreds of millions of dollars to break even.
This is like Borderlands. This is a Borderlands 4 conversation because that came up this
Yeah.
week about it being $80 and
Yep.
what's his face
Potential.
saying, if
Randy,
you're a real
stop
fan,
talking.
you'll make it happen.
You had momentum. Shut up. Randy, get off the internet.
Yeah, I did a whole breakdown of that.
Stop it. But you see,
But no, I agree
you're
with you,
seeing
Watts.
this-
That's the thing I think with like Bungie being so big, and like you ask yourself, are our games better than a decade ago? Overall, I don't know. I don't know if there's a nostalgia play in there. I don't like the games look better, but I don't know from a gameplay point of view whether we've got an increase in enjoyment from video games over the last decade with the increase in cost to make them.
Well,
Mm.
this is where you hear me whining every other week. I hate live service and free to play stuff, and I think it's also dramatically affected. I mean, look at Bungie. They're
It has,
making two live service games, and people wonder why they're not making just Marathon the campaign, like Halo. And really, just they could have reborn Halo out of Marathon. They could have easily, quote unquote, done that in the sense that they already had another property that was like Halo, and they sold Halo, but they could have done that. They chose not to because of this trend chasing and also what you as a player invest your time in, free to play.
Yeah, I mean, that's also true. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying that there's no room for it, but
Yeah.
I think it's really affected the industry a lot.
I mean, this is why you see a game will sell 4 million. You're like, that's a little bit disappointing, though, isn't it? It's like, is it? It's 4 million. Like, that's a lot of players. But that's because they need so much of a return. And that's why, like, if you as a player, as a gamer, are looking for unique experiences that are doing something a little bit different, you are going to find it in AA and indie games, because AAA is so expensive now that they can't take any risks. They have to look at all of the analytics of, well, what's going to bring us the most money, because we cannot afford to even sell like a good amount of copies or get a good amount of players. They have to be like record breaking every single time they bring out a game. So if you're looking for something unique and interesting that does something cool, indie is going to be where you're going to want to look at that. And there's actually, interestingly, I just want to give a bit of a shout out to something that's happening soon. I'll check the date on it, but there is a new showcase coming out that is specifically for indie JRPGs. So it's an indie JRPG showcase. And they said they've got like 40 trailers. It's called Indie Quest. And it is on, I want to say it's the 29th, May 29th, 4 p.m. Pacific. So they have a ton of indie JRPGs that are showing off what's going on. Check it out, because, we saw Clair Obscur come out. That is a JRPG that's not in Japan, obviously, but it's a type of game. So hopefully more people will be interested in checking out this indie showcase.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Okay. And then I was going to say on that really fast, because I want to talk about Firebreak, if that's cool. But
yeah. No, we can talk. We can talk about all sorts of stuff.
I totally agree. But I also think it's the call it the B and the A games, and they so easily get overlooked. But they're and that's kind of what I'm about to talk about here. Is why I bring it up, is whether that's, I don't know if it's Path of Exile or it's I was looking at maybe some Steam sales like Enshrouded, or there's a lot of these games like that maybe are doing the right things in that tier. So Expedition.
There's a lot of them.
Obviously.
There is a lot of those games around. Ton of them.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think I'll just spend like 2 minutes on this really fast, unless you
No,
have
I want to
questions
hear about it. The spice, give it to us, Fran.
Yeah, I got to play FBC Firebreak hands-on. There was a closed play test. Yes, let me set this up.
Okay, yeah, set us up. Set us up.
But yeah, actually, number one, shout out to my YouTube channel to plug it. This is not why I'm bringing it up, but I have a 10-minute preview on the Fran Mirabella channel. I don't do YouTube videos that often, so if you do like it, 10 minutes, I get into the details of what I thought. But we get to go hands-on with like a couple levels. I played with Fightin' Cowboy, if you've heard that name, and Jack Frags. It was just content creators as part of, a session privately. So it was cool to play with some folks on comms and play a couple levels, but this was from a build in about April. FBC Firebreak is a 3-player co-op shooter set in the world of Control. So from the folks at Remedy, that weird style, but it's this co-op kind of Back for Blood-esque. They said they were inspired by Deep Rock Galactic,
Yeah.
which I never got a chance to play, but stuff like
People
that.
love that game, man.
People
That's still
love it.
going.
And the example here that I, was getting into, it's like this is a 50-person team inside Remedy, which is about 380, 400 employees. So like you have this stuff happening. It is live service though, to a degree. So there's that. But this is from Remedy, who has been doing so many narrative games. So anyway, long story short, I think it's got potential because it was from early April. Like things weren't quite balanced, the visuals weren't balanced, and that whole like closed playtest vibe. And you have a lot of questions, but mechanically it was kind of fun. So you would one level, you got to get in. You've probably seen it in the trailers if you've watched them, and like there's a bunch of sticky notes everywhere. So you have to clear them as a team. And Myelin, you might have a water cannon, and I have a shock stick, and Watts has a wrench. And this is the 3 different sort of classes you can choose from. This is the big item you choose, the tool.
I got a water pistol?
Yeah, so you have like a big like water, a fluidic
That's what
crank.
there's a water pistol.
So you're like these huge globs of water. You're shooting them all over the sticky notes. I'm shocking them, which conducts the electricity. So that helps you clear stuff faster. But then the zombie demon hiss hordes are coming after you. And so you got to work together in that capacity and fix a few things like generators. And so that's like the vibe, you're upgrading your tools. It does have like seemingly maybe like a $10 cosmetic battle pass on top of being a $40 game, by the way. So it's that whole setup.
Yeah.
So we got a taste of it. I think it's got potential, but it was
it's kind of just like Dark Tide or Back for Blood, like all this, like it's just a co-op horde shooter essentially.
It is, but that's where I'm wondering and want to have significant time where I'm like, is it more focused on the killing and the shooting, or to me it felt like we need to stop the attack so I can work on this stuff. And it was very much about, like, another one was an escort mission. So you're shooting down these like leeches from the ceiling in this weird control cavern, and they fall down in this glowing green, blob that you have to pick up. It's radioactive. You're getting radiated. You got to put it in a cart and like push the cart to the next objective. And then you have to like take these showers to get like the radiation off you. And you have to Watts would have to fix the shower because she has the wrench. And also you, as an example, Myelin, your kit would have had a healing sprinkler to keep us alive. So it's that whole like working together. So I like it.
Sounds a bit like GTFO. I don't know if you ever played that.
I never played that. Yeah. I remember watching it.
There was like big emphasis on like obviously teamwork and not just shooting, but like taking in the right gadgets to accomplish certain mission objectives, and then and then you would trigger a horde at some point and try to survive that and then get back to the objective.
And that's a lot of what it is. You have to escape back to the elevator effectively. And there is like
it's an extraction shooter.
There's a couple of bosses. No, you're not extracting anything except for like you earn XP and points to basically upgrade. So that's the short of it. Yeah. I think it comes out June 17th. We've mentioned it. So I think it'll be a neat one to look at. Apparently they've balanced a lot. And so
Fran, we losing what? She's slowly fading. I told
you.
I'm not. I'm fine. I'm listening.
But that's it for. I think we got other big stuff to talk about. Whether it was.
I want you to talk about what makes you happy, Fran.
No,
did it make you happy, Fran? Did it bring you joy?
Did it bring you joy? Will you play it when it's out, Fran?
Fran, I want to play. Can you get me in the next play test? I want to yell at you.
When it comes out.
They're going to be doing reviews soon, so if you want to review it, I mean, I can put you in touch with the company if you want to check it out. But
I would review it.
But they might just have like early release codes too. We should check it out. It would be fun to play together. So.
Yeah, because I think those games you also need. You need. It's different if it's a co-op experience. If you like on comps people as well.
That's why companies will normally give you a code, and then they will give you codes for friends or whatever, because they're like, we know that this shows off best if it's with friends. So.
Yeah. Like I played that Sea of Thieves in space and Wildgate. And I was like, there's no point me playing this without like people in my team. Like I was just like, I'm just not gonna have a good time here, and I literally played it for 2 hours and put it down. Yeah,
it's got matchmaking and all that, so we'll see. But the point is, it has potential. They have some balancing, and which is one of those games you have to see more because like it's just you got to get into it. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
What should we move on to? I mean, I feel like we should ask Watts about something so she.
There was a A trailer came out today for Monster Hunter Wilds and their first collab event.
Oh yeah.
So, Monster Hunter Wilds is doing. We knew that there was a Capcom collab coming, but we didn't know what it was going to be. They've been teasing it in the past few days, and today we finally got an actual trailer. So, this is a Monster Hunter Wilds Street Fighter collab. The smaller things are you're gonna get a, the kind of plushy Blanca-chan outfit for your Palico. That's there.
Oh, that's pretty cute.
Nope, it's pretty cool.
Can he electrocute people?
They can. So there are emotes that you can get. There's gonna be and of course the Palicos also do all of the emotes. So you have Hadouken, Shoryuken, and Tatsumaki Seppuchaku. So you have those that your Palico could do. But so what I was expecting from these kind of collabs is usually you get like an outfit, maybe there's an arena quest, and you get maybe like an emote from it or something. But they have straight up put Akuma in the game, and you can be Akuma and beat up monsters with your fists.
Really?
Yes.
So is it a weapon, or you have to play? How do you engage with this?
Let me read how it actually works. Okay, here we go.
Because like when I watched it, I was like, "Is this a new weapon type?" But you have a skin as Akuma if you want.
So if you equip the Akuma full armor set or full layered armor set, equipping either set allows you to use Akuma's unique item and gestures to perform his fighting moves. So they have
it's like on top of your weapon then.
Yeah, so they also showed in the trailer, like, you wearing the Akuma outfit, but you, like, using a bowgun and using an insect glaive. So you can wear that and still use your weapon, or you can...
That is crazy.
It's crazy. They added Akuma's drive impact as an offset attack. So you can do a drive impact offset attack on the monster, knock him over. It's crazy. It's crazy. So it says that... So you can select Akuma's actions from the item bar, use the assisted combo Akuma item command to branch into various combos, attacks unleash special moves like Go Hadouken and Go Shoryuken. The attack power of Akuma's unique actions is determined by the main weapon you have equipped, and then equipping the full armor set boosts attack power considerably compared to using the full armored layered set.
I'm going to bring this up.
Bring it up. So people could see what it's like.
Because I was like, what do you mean? Who's
you can
playing Street Fighter?
You are playing Street Fighter.
In Monster Hunter. He's like dodging and shooting fireballs and shit.
There's a whole, like, look at his dodge. Woo!
Dude, he just uppercutted it.
So this is the point. Yeah, so you can use your weapons and just wear the skin if you want to be Akuma. Or you can just punch and Hadouken and Shoryuken everything to death. There's Blanca-chan.
Oh, that's cute. The Blanca. Oh, man. Dude, that is a crazy collab that is not just like a skin. Like, he's actually got a full moveset.
He has a full moveset. I was like, what? And I feel like that's been happening to me in Wilds quite a bit. Oh, here's the offset attack coming. Check out this drive impact. Oh, baby.
Oh, it even looks like Street Fighter 6.
It does.
Like it has this. It has the effects of Street Fighter 6 on it.
Gotta get
you get KO, or is that just edited in?
That might be for the quest where you unlock it, maybe, because they do stuff like that in the game.
When you knock him out as a
it's crazy. You have like his whole moveset in the game. You can punch a monster and beat him up to death. So that's there.
Is that in now? May 28th.
May 28th. Also, there's going to be Chun-Li and Cammy outfits for Alma.
Okay.
And then there's going to be gestures as well. And the gestures, so the gestures that you use, like the emotes, they do have attack properties. So you'll start to see people just killing monsters with gestures as like a fun little thing that people will do.
Did they do anything like this in World? Any collabs?
Yes.
Did you recall?
Yeah, they had a Witcher collab where you were straight up the Witcher and you were fighting a monster from The Witcher, and there was like dialogue options you could select and all that stuff. And they also added a whole ass like raid boss level monster from Final Fantasy 14 in there as well. So yeah, pretty cool.
This definitely sets the bar for collabs, because normally when I think of collabs, I think of just some cash grab for skins, but this is like
it's an actual gameplay thing, yeah. And he's going to be sticking around forever. It's not just during like a collab period. You're going to be able to do this.
So you don't have to buy. It's just a quest.
Yeah, the Akuma stuff is just a part of a quest. If you want the like outfits for the handler or like the sticker set and stuff like that, then that's paid.
Oh yeah, so the Alma outfits, I was trying to look that up.
Yeah.
Chun-Li, Cammy, that's paid.
Yeah.
The Blanca doll, I see. And the
but like the Blanca Chan for the Palico and Akuma for the Hunter, that's part of the event crossover.
Do they usually get some like fun lore tie-in, or is it just kind of like they exist in this universe? Or is it like, yo, we've got this interesting fighter that's
if there's a storyline like the Witcher stuff, there was like a whole story thing where you would go and you talk and you go on a quest. So sometimes there will be tie-ins to the story.
Yeah, that might be cool. It's just like, yo, have you heard about this hunter punching the monsters? Like, no.
It's cool.
Yep.
I'm glad they're having
it's really cool.
fun with it. So I do like it for that, but every time I see this stuff, and I know I was a Debbie Downer about monetization stuff, but I always look at it and I'm like, man, but what if they just develop some new cool thing for Monster Hunter Wilds, like in that universe, instead of having to like bait people in with like collabs? And it's like,
yeah, but it kind of is a new cool thing though.
It is
kind of
like getting a new weapon.
A new weapon.
Almost,
it's kind of like getting a new weapon, yeah.
But I'm saying, but what if it was just something new that's in the world of Wilds? And for me personally, like, meaning I think it's cool and all, but I don't care about Akuma and all that. Like, it doesn't get me to be like, dude, I'm so about this, but I think it's neat. Whereas if it was just in Wilds and they did something fun, paid DLC, all this, that's fine. In the world, I'd probably be more excited.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? Like, I don't really care about
what the title update is for, right? Like you have.
I don't really.
Recently, but the resources are the same.
But they mix and match things, right? So you had like the new monsters coming out, you have the new difficulty coming out, you have the Zoshia's here, new armor. We had AT Ray Dow, and you've got events to do with him and armor and Palico armor, and then you have the next title update with new monsters and everything. And then they have collabs, and then alongside with this collab, we're getting more tempered 8-star monsters, which will bring more stuff. So, they always do a mixture, and they always usually there are sometimes some outside collabs, of course, but a lot of the time you will find collabs with like other Capcom properties.
Yeah, no, and I do think it's fun. I just think there's that other side of like, oh, if they put all the resources into the world versus, but you got to keep the player base alive, and like I do. From a business side, I'm like, yeah, of course you're gonna do this. Like,
well, I think this is a better type of collab, right? Yeah. Like I wouldn't be interested in just 3, 5, or 6 skins,
right?
But you showing me some dude punching a monster, like I'm kind of okay. Now you've piqued my interest. Can I uppercut this dude?
Monster Hunter does do collabs really well. They have some pretty cool stuff, even on the lower end, like. If you do an arena quest for like Mega Man or something, and it's got Mega Man music playing during it, and you get a Palico skin, like that's the kind of on the lower end, and then on the high end, you have like a whole collab monster with a quest and armor and all that stuff tied to it. So, they normally do pretty fun stuff, and I wasn't expecting to be Akuma and punch monsters to death. So
nice.
It's a lot more than I expected. Cool I think it's fun.
Cool.
So that's coming May 28th, the day before Night Rain.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay.
Night Rain technically comes out on the 30th, but on Steam it says the 29th, so I don't know what time that is.
Yeah. International releases.
Depends. Sometimes for Japanese games, it could just be like 9 p.m. Pacific. It could be 4 p.m. It could be 5 p.m. It could be 3 p.m. my time. So.
Japan's the same time zone as me, I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
So that would be 20. If it's it can't be that, because then it would be like this is already a day early.
You get everything a day early, Myelin.
Yeah.
You get to play like 13, 12 hours ahead of everybody.
Yeah. If I get up at 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's great if you change your console time to Australian. That's great.
Yeah. You get a free kangaroo with that.
Oh, speaking of kangaroos, I'm just going to touch on this really quickly. Lies of P Overture, the DLC. They invited some people out to check out the game a little bit.
Is the kangaroo boss in it?
There is the Krot Zoo. And within the zoo, there are some kung fu ass kangaroos. There's elephants, and there's a crocodile boss. So you might fit in, Myelin. Actually, when the kangaroo came on, I was like, oh, Mylin's there. Nice.
Nice.
Oh, Myelin.
Kangaroo. Don't mess with the kangaroo.
Doesn't have a release date yet?
It doesn't have a release date yet. No, I think so. Based on what we're seeing with actually inviting people to play the game and putting out their thoughts and feelings and stuff, I would guess that because we're so close to Summer Game Fest that we're going to start seeing it for around Summer Game Fest. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the PlayStation blog still said summer 2025. So probably. Maybe it's just July or August.
It might just be July, August, yeah. But this is Lies of P is the Souls-like, Bloodborne-like, about Pinocchio. And they invited people. They showed off some new weapons. There's a literal gunblade, like straight up Final Fantasy VIII, maybe even better than the Final Fantasy VIII gunblade, where you're like you can jump backwards with the shot, and then you can jump back towards them and. The weapons in Lies of P are always really cool, and the weapons here were really, really cool of what we saw.
Nice.
It's more Lies of P.
It's awesome.
They are also adding difficulty options, so if you're someone who was like, it was a little bit too difficult for me, but I did really like a lot that was going on, they do have difficulty options now in the game. They're also adding like a boss rush mode and kind of like a challenge mode, so they're adding some other stuff too. Nice. As well as a whole new story, new areas, new bosses, new weapons. This is a prequel to what happened in the main Lies of P game. So in Lies of P, what happened is the puppet frenzy happened. So everyone had puppets to, help them do chores and stuff. And then the puppets went mad and killed everybody. So this is right before that. So I'm really excited about that because I'm hoping to see about like, what was it like leading up to it and why did it happen? So it's more Lies of P, and Lies of P is great. I have him back there.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, I believe summer ends officially around the 22nd or something of June, and its anniversary, if I'm looking this up right, is September 19th. So probably by then or on then. So it's not far away, regardless.
It's gonna be soon. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Like, we'll probably know at Summer Games Fest, which
we'll
is
probably know. Yeah,
a few weeks away.
Yeah, that was that.
What's next?
Doom.
Yeah. Okay, you guys both finished, right?
We beat it.
Yep.
Nice.
First, I'll just disclose. I did have a sponsorship for Doom to stream it.
Wow.
I've now completed that. So, I mean, I'm sure people will be like, well, you're paid to say this. So let me start with my criticisms of Dark Ages.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all you had to do was play it, right?
Start with the bad.
Beating it. That was your choice,
Yeah,
right?
I just stream it, yeah. So, let's start with the criticisms. I think the soundtrack is good, but not iconic. And I think people are still feeling the departure of, what's his face? Oh, God, now. Yeah. And it's like, man, there's so many Doom songs that are like iconic. And it's I kind of compare it to Halo, like the first Halo, some of the earlier Halos, like Warthog Run is like iconic. And then like every release after that just seems like a mix up of that nostalgia rather than being its own thing. I think that's kind of like where Doom sits every now and then. It's like, yeah, this is clearly Doom. But like this is not like none of the soundtracks. But that's BFG or that's Rip and Tear. Like none of it's like
something
that
it's all like
look up on
derivative metal music.
derivative.
Yeah, I would say it's
Yeah.
it's good,
That's a good way to put it.
crunchy metal, and it fits, and it's got decent cues. But then, yeah, none of it stands out suddenly as like, what a banger track. I
Exactly.
completely
Put
agree.
on baby metal while you're playing it. Just trust me.
Yeah,
That's the way.
Too.
I did that because just a quick side tangent. I did that because I had a bug where there was literally no music in one of the first levels, and I was like,
So you
I
put
know
on
that
baby
the
metal.
music guy isn't here anymore, but like, is this supposed to
You
be
put
like
something in.
silent? So I
Mhm.
put on baby metal, and that was amazing. That was perfect.
Nice.
That was
Yeah, I
that was
mean,
great.
related, Miles, did you have any? Well, I know you had the buzzing sound issue, but did you have other like? Did you notice the sound just
Uh,
seemed off? It like
I
spiked for
didn't
me
have
sometimes.
I
It
didn't have buzzing,
problematic.
but
You had the when you
the
pick up the
You did. I was
resources.
watching when that shield came back. You may not have noticed.
It's when you
Dude,
pick up
I
the ammo
triggered.
and stuff on the floor.
It's
And every time
when
I
you would
love
do
that
it.
noise.
Yeah, Milo would go.
And- dude, it's like a
I
shield
love
fart.
that noise.
It's
I
terrible,
love
dude.
that
I
noise.
can't believe that. Dude,
I
I was
like
watching
it.
your stream, and every time, because like I played it for 30 hours, and it never, I couldn't fix it. But I also
I
had
like
like there
it.
was moments when I got to like just huge spikes in sound, like whoa, like crazy. So something was going on, and that was disappointing. On
The
that front.
the only one I really noticed like the speakers blowing up was when you're with the dragon shooting down those ships, and
Yeah.
it, like they for
Yes.
some reason just
The ships
peaked
did
big
it.
time. The ships did it, yeah.
I had a couple other. It
Um,
wasn't all the time, but it was enough that I'm like, sound
Yeah.
mix is disappointing. That's surprising given their tech focus, but
Yeah. I think the other thing is, let me just think of the other criticisms to get people on board that I'm not being paid to say this. Other criticisms, I think at first, actually, it's probably difficulty. I think the difficulty wasn't as hard as Eternal. And I think for not like a lot of people started at Nightmare and probably had the same feeling like, is this not, I'm not really having any nightmares about this yet. It is slow to get going. And I think like after chapter 10, which is about 50% of the campaign, actually really starts to improve with the
Yeah.
encounters and just the balance and the difficulty. Like I think dying 2 or 3 times to an encounter just to get the blood pumping is like a really good balance for Doom. And I think like the first half of the campaign was just, it wasn't a snooze fest, and it felt really good, but the encounters definitely didn't like challenge you even on like nightmare mode. And I think that was, and apparently they buffed it. I don't know if the person was lying, but someone came into my chat and they were a dev, and they've patched it and they've made it a
you
little
played
bit
it on
harder
Nightmare
now.
then?
I played on Nightmare
Nice.
full way through. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd actually say
yeah.
I like challenge, and I started on Ultraviolence and then moved to Nightmare. But personally, because of the shield parry and some other stuff, I actually just didn't like the feeling. In other words, I'd be going into like melee, and you're mid animation, so you actually can't parry that green stuff. You kind of got to know it's coming, and then you're getting shot from everywhere. So like, in other words, it would have been fine. I would have changed my play style, but I just didn't like it. So I'm like, I'm enjoying Ultraviolence. I dialed it back because I didn't like how it felt. It wasn't really the
I love.
challenge so much as the way it felt to me.
I really liked how it felt. I think it took a little bit of time to get used to the parry, and at first I wasn't quite sure. I was like, "Oh, this green and red's very bright,"
And the parry was fine for it to be clear. It's the same timing on Ultraviolence, by the way, but it was that you're getting damaged so much more, and you're in the middle of these animations. Well, I'll talk about that later, but
Yeah.
I thought Nightmare
that's
was
probably
good, by the way. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, I think that was probably the only real criticisms was probably the difficulty. Could have used a little bit of tuning, and I think also the soundtrack. It wasn't bad, but I think Doom fans probably expected more.
It's a hard follow-up.
basically.
I do not
It is.
I don't envy them.
I like that they've experimented though, and I think that's the hardest conversation with the Doom audience is like, hey, like you rebooted Doom in 2016, and Eternal took some different swings, but now you're getting into this like Souls parry shield influence stuff. And for some people, I thought, I heard anyway that it wasn't for them, which I completely understand. But I was glad that they're experimenting with it. And I thought the game was good fun overall. But I definitely have feedback.
I think the game is a very, very solid entry into Doom. I actually had a really fun time with it and wanted to go back and do the was it Ultra Nightmare? Is it Ultra Nightmare? Which is like if you die, you got to do it flawless. Basically, you got to do it without dying,
There's
or
one
it just
with,
deletes
was
the
Pain- Was there one with the word P in it? Painkiller or something like that?
Oh yeah, it's pandemonium or something like that.
Pandemonium,
Something
maybe?
like that.
Yeah.
Might be
That's you
pandemonium.
unlock that after, right?
It took a while for the combat system to grow on me, but I really started like once you really get in the flow with the parries and the abilities, and every weapon is pretty much a banger, except one, which is the coolest new weapon, which is like the Skull Crusher.
Skull Crusher.
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
why that thing just
And
feels
the
so
Ravager.
dog shit compared to everything else. And it's like
It was
probably the
meant to
coolest
just
looking
like
one.
pepper the entire. Did you fully upgrade
Map.
it though? I didn't.
No, see, maybe
But
that
see,
was
I think
the
that's
issue.
why, because it gives you like
Yeah.
fast movement,
Yeah.
a bunch. It gave you like actual movement buffs. So I think it was you were meant to
Mm.
go around and just like wreak havoc from like a spray and play kind of situation.
Yeah.
I wanted to, but it was the one that I was one of the few that I was least drawn to. But I actually used the Ravager a lot
Yeah,
because
it's
that was
upgraded version.
the upgraded version because I
Yeah.
used it because you could get like armor back through the upgrade
right.
called Vampirism.
Yeah. All the upgrades are really interesting and really fun. I mean, I spent a lot of time on rocket launcher. There was like a perk called cannibalism, where if you essentially got off a parry,
Yeah.
splash damage would heal you.
Yeah.
So you just
I thought that was
you
neat.
basically parry and get right in their face, shoot a rocket, get health back from it.
Did you have an issue with? I mean, I might have just been looking at the HUD too much, but I'm like, there's no on-screen buff for stuff like
That was probably the
this.
main criticism. Actually,
Yeah.
there
You
was a
noticed
couple
this
things
too.
like that.
I was like,
Yeah.
is it working? And for how long?
There
And
was
it was like,
no.
I don't know. You just
There
had
was
to
no indicator that I knew of
blow
that
yourself
showed you when
up.
cannibalism was
Blow
on,
yourself.
which
I thought it was just. I thought that was just Fran having to go at Myelin and be like, "Blow yourself." I'm like, "Oh Jesus!" I guess that wasn't the reaction he was looking for.
yeah.
Never mind.
But yeah,
But you noticed
I
that.
really enjoyed nearly all the guns. I felt like they had a role and a certain cadence within certain enemies, like
Chain shot.
Yeah, chain shot was great. They all had different ranges to play out. There were just great ways to counter different enemies too. Like sometimes you're like, okay, I want to get their armor off, then I'll stun them with my shield, then I'll get in
Right.
close, or this one I'll get in close, and that will like there was one I can't remember what they were called, but they look kind of like a minotaur with a shield and a sword, and if you at range, they would just have like an invulnerability shield around them. So you had to go in to parry
Yes.
them. They were an absolute pain in the ass.
That's who I used the chain shot for, actually, to this
Yeah,
discussion.
I ended up using
It
the
worked
chain
out
shot
that
for
I was
them.
like, that was the one to do.
Yeah, chain shot was kind of like medium range, and you could still hit them without their shield going up. You get the BFC rather than the big fucking gun. You get the big fucking crossbow at some
Yeah.
point, which is really fun. Because I was wondering if that was going to be in the game. And
Oh,
it
the like
was.
sniper. I use that all the time. The Impaler, you mean?
No,
the super.
crossbow, the BFC,
yeah, the actual like super ultimate. Sorry, yeah.
the ballistic force crossbows is the official name, but everyone knows what it is.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, I wanted to ask.
I just had a really good time with it.
Did you have like did you end up using like 2 weapons mainly or 4 weapons mainly, and what was that?
I mean, this shotgun is just such a staple. It just felt like it was pretty much could solve most problems. The super shotgun is, I actually both. I used the normal shotgun and the super shotgun. Normal shotgun was good to get your ammo back. Like you had perks that could set them alight. Sorry, armor back. Set them alight, and then they would spew out armor. So you could use that to clear up all the little dudes, and then just get in the big guy's face and blast him with the super shotgun. Early on, like the super shotgun wasn't the best option for something because his reload was too slow, so you couldn't like get a shot off in between parries. Like you would end up taking damage, which was nice. But once you uploaded the reload, then all of a sudden you could like use it well. Yeah. I used pretty much a lot of the shotgun and the rocket launcher because just cannibalism was just huge on it. You could just clutch to get your health back.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good sign that at least I was interested enough in different guns to want to, in different situations, use almost all of them. But I'm also that type of player. I like the feel and to test things. But I was very drawn to, I was a shoddy main. Yeah, I had gold shotties like pretty quickly, which you can do mastery to unlock the gold skins, which I thought was a nice touch. By the way, we need more of that stuff in games where I'm like, dude, you just, when I unlocked my super shoddy and then like I got a mastery challenge and it's like, you get a gold skin. None of this like unlock the battle pass nonsense. even though it's kind of a similar mechanic, it's like in the game. But anyway, I was all shoddy. And then what was the fast assault rifle? Not the Impaler version, but the basically your assault rifle. But
it shoots spikes.
the one where like you could fill them, fill them full of lead. They'd start glowing, and you'd throw your shield in as one of the perk sets.
Yeah.
They'd explode, or you could do vice versa. But I ended up doing my shotties plus the Impaler once you get slow motion sniping.
Yep.
And then I would use the chain shot for those night guys you were talking about. And then I found out about cannibalism, and so I ended up using all of that, which I thought was a really good sign. It wasn't
the only weapon I didn't like end up switching to and using was one of the coolest looking ones, which was like this, minigun that was reloaded with skulls. It was like, that the pulverizer, I think it's called, and that was pretty much the only like weapon type that I didn't use. I pretty much rotated through most of the other stuff.
Nice.
The map exploration is really good and really fun. I enjoy like there are some linear sections, but you get to these like mini open world sections, and they really reward exploration because you get gold to upgrade your gear, which you need. And you also get like rubies, and I can't remember what the final tier is, but you pick up the upgrade materials you need.
The pink shard.
Yeah, whatever the shard is. And nearly all of them are like, it works really well. You see something like, how do I get there? And you kind of think like, you only spend like 60 seconds thinking, looking at it, like running around a little bit, looking for a door. Like, there's got to be an entrance here. And like, you almost always find it. It's one of those games that has level design where it makes you feel really clever. You're like, oh, I did it. I did it. You're like, I found it. I'm so smart.
Yeah.
It's just it's never, the only thing that was hard was these wolves that you had to find.
Yeah.
They were like these statues scattered around. I was like, oh man, I need to keep my eyes peeled for these because
it felt very God of War. God of War,
But I think it's fine they went to like,
because it was optional too.
Yeah.
That was my biggest feedback. Like overall, I think the game is great. For me, if I had to rate it, like top of my head, I'd have to think about it, but it's more like an 8.5 kind of out of 10.
It's an 8. It's around an 8. It's 8.5. Yep.
But
for
really
sure.
Solid, super happy with it. I'm actually happy that it was only 30 hours for me. And even then, I played more because I thought I was going to like chase more upgrades and stuff. And I started to realize, this is my main feedback, the bookends really strong. I'm like, oh, cool, we're zooming, we're getting our upgrades. Oh, cool, I can fly. Oh, cool, I'm in like this freaking Titan. Cool. But then it starts to like stretch all that. And I'm like, this flying level's too long, dude. And then I was like, in the first open world, I was like, this is neat. Ooh, environmental puzzles. This is cool. Yeah, it made me like, I can't wait for Metroid, And yeah, it made you feel clever is a great way to put it. But then for me personally, even though it was optional, because the game just becomes like, now it's just really big. Wander everywhere. But then like I started to realize I was spending all this time gathering stuff for no reason. It just started to feel like a bit of a stretch in the middle. It wasn't bad, and it was optional, right? But I had trouble walking away from that balance.
Versus it is hard to not do it.
I realized, I was wearing myself down.
It draws you in.
Yeah.
So
the last few chapters, it picked up. But just to make that final note, the middle, design-wise, I just got to be honest, like it did feel stretch for the sake of stretch, where when you get into like, I think it's chapter 19, it could be 18, you're like, oh, we're back to like really solid level design and pace and cutscene. And I could have done without that bloat. I think they could save, I don't know how you do it, but save more for after you beat the game.
I hear ya. So I know what you're saying, but I don't think it's bloat. Like I think everything was really well designed. Like didn't really feel.
You didn't feel like suddenly you got into like back to a chapter.
I honestly think,
like, well, this is a cool level. Again,
I think there was just a lot of content there. Like if you wanted to 100% it, like those areas actually took you some time. So for my sponsorship, for a weird reason, they actually sponsored me for the last 3 chapters.
Yeah,
and it was and I was
actually, that's funny.
Really?
I was 100%ing like every map, and then I got to the point like I am not going to make it in time.
That's so funny.
By the end of the week.
That's so funny that they gave you a sponsorship for like the end of the game. That's like better
Is
play
a coincidence that I was like, it suddenly gets really good with all your stuff on those last. It's probably no coincidence.
I'm glad I enjoyed it. Um,
Can you
but
imagine? You're like, shit,
it,
I hate this game. I gotta play it.
yeah, true, true.
But you realized you
Um,
had to like push forward.
well, the thing is, I was very surprised. Like, so my first maps, 100%, 99%. The ones in the middle, 33%. You know,
Yeah.
I just went to the objective. The objective tells you on the map, you just go straight there, and it actually goes really quick. So I think
It does.
you know, like you said, like I actually think the middle part, like if you're getting drained in the middle part and you're not feeling like you want to explore, you can just go to the objective. And it like I was smashing out chapters really quick. That would have taken me an hour, maybe even longer,
Same.
depending if if you do everything, to down to like 30 minutes, maybe even less,
Yeah.
just going from point to point.
But
So
that's what I was
yeah.
getting at, though. But it was not only that. I knew it was optional, like I'm saying. I think from a design perspective, they just didn't. They had a lot of what you're talking about. Suddenly it was big. There were some neat puzzles and the wolves, and like it was just big. But then I felt like we got back to the pace of the core of the game, and like I could feel
Yeah,
that
that's true.
stretch. It was not bad at all. I really like the game, and I think they sort of did the best they could. But I think again, like I hate when games they give you the option to take yourself off the track. And I do think it's up to the director and the editor, so to speak, to be like, what is the best experience you can have? And then how do we make sure people know if you want to get off the beaten track path that like you don't ruin the experience for yourself? And there's choices to make there. Like I actually complimented Wilds on that, where it let me beat the game. I don't know, maybe it was coincidence, but when I beat the game, I felt like I had a lot more to do, and that was fine. But I got through it, Monster Hunter Wilds, in like, 20, 30 hours. So I was happy.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, sorry. I thought the last levels, if you compare them, they're much stronger and on pace with like that core experience.
I think they're closer to what people expected from a Doom experience, where you have a bit of a faster pace and you're punching through these like difficult encounters. It definitely felt like I was reaching those like barricades of encounters. Like, okay, I'm going to take out this demon first, then wipe the floor, and then kill the floating brain, and then target the spider, and then take out the, do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that is where I think you get a lot of that experience in Eternal, like all the time. And I was kind of wanting a little bit more of that. And so I kind of see what you're saying. But I also just enjoyed I think the worlds were just so good. The environment was so good. Like, but I also get that I don't know if you expect to do more exploration in a Doom game than you do to do the shooting. So
it wasn't the expectation. It was just what was there. Yeah. The level started to feel like, well, this is another big level with the same enemies and things to do. And actually, I realized as you said it, you nailed it. That would be one solution. They kind of just ended up not having enemies evolve in that time. And so you ended up with the same experience. If they had more enemy evolutions to give in those, I don't think I would have noticed as much. Because you'd be upgrading stuff more because you kind of would have a new experience. So, but it's a solid game. I really enjoy it. I'm happy that it's not, like, again, like a live service.
It's on Game Pass too. So once again, I mean,
it's on Game Pass,
if you've had Game Pass recently, you are eating well. You're getting your value for money.
Now is the best time for a Game Pass. Like I've played South of Midnight, Expedition 33, Doom. Is something coming up soon?
On Game Pass?
I don't remember.
Yeah. There's always something, actually.
There is always something. Yeah. However, I listen. This is first world problem, and I can afford to do it because I get a lot of games for free. Oh, Blueprints was the other one. Yeah, Blueprints was another one.
Blueprints was good.
It's on PlayStation.
I will not play any games through the Game Pass app on PC. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it with all my heart and soul.
Oh, really?
I hate it.
Really? The Xbox app?
I hate it. Well, I have to use I have to use things to get around the fact that I'm using a PlayStation controller because God forbid, and then they won't let you use any of the buttons, right? So even though if I play Expedition 33 on Steam, it recognizes my PlayStation controller right away and it uses PlayStation buttons. If I was to do it in Game Pass, I have to use DS4 Windows or I have to use some kind of like Steam workaround, and it still won't show the buttons. Again, I get a lot of games for free as part of like doing this for a long time.
Content creation,
so I'm not saying that it's like if you cannot afford to play games, especially now with them being $80, seems like it might be a norm. Game Pass all the way, but I hate it.
Oh, you hate Game Pass as a whole? Or
I hate the app. I hate it. I hate their interface.
But see, I didn't know if it was
I
about
hate
the
the
experience
notifications. I hate the way they do save data. I hate the way they do controller stuff. I hate everything about it.
Go off, Queen. Honestly, like that meeting, I didn't realize some of that. I didn't know if it was like Game Pass and how stuff's monetized, which is more on my side, which is more on the if you can afford it and you love gaming and games industry, please buy games. Because I think in the long run we're seeing some bad effects. But like if you don't have the money, it's an amazing
No,
deal. There's
please
nothing
take
wrong with
advantage of Game Pass.
Take
Yeah,
advantage of it.
I'm just saying,
Like,
as
I
a
need to
user,
as well.
I do not like the user experience of really Xbox anything.
Yeah.
Xbox anything, I don't like the user experience of it. Like even the console.
You don't own it.
Like annoys me.
Yeah, like there's no guarantee that any like Doom probably because it's owned by Microsoft now, but there's no guarantee you won't in 2 years be like, oh, I'm gonna go back and play something. It's like, no, it's not on there anymore. You know, they changed their model, so that is always something to think about in the long run. But anyway, Doom, good, go play, and also just the type of games I think I want to see. I should say, let's put it in those terms. I'm just glad to see a badass shooter. Campaign-based game. So
yeah, for sure. What? You gonna say something?
I was just gonna say that I finished Expedition 33. Well, I finished the story. I have one like super boss to defeat, which will be I think I'm doing it on Saturday. But everything else is done. Everything else. 110 hours.
Yeah,
not bad.
That's gonna happen to me.
I think this is my favorite game ever.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. If like early on, you're like, I think it could be, guys. I think, and then now you're like pretty sure.
It
like,
just
this is
kept
in what,
getting.
the top
It just
5,
kept
the top
getting
3.
better. No, I think it's my favorite one. See, this is the thing with like with your favorite game ever, right? It can be kind of hard because there was a game that maybe you played 20 years ago that was your favorite game. When you look back on it, and you're like, yeah, that's my favorite game. But you're not playing all of these games that have become one of your favorite games every year and then pitting them up against like the new game that's one of your favorite games. So I think you almost have like your favorite game ever in different stages of your life. Like Neo 2 is one of my favorite games. Sekiro, Final Fantasy 8. Like I have so many games throughout that are my favorite games. But I think the difference between my favorite game ever and one of my favorite games is probably very minuscule. So but yeah, this game is, I think it's just perfect. Like the visuals are gorgeous. The direction of all of the cutscenes are amazing. It's super cinematic. The voice acting is really good. The direction of the voice acting is really good. Like when the characters are talking, it feels like a real conversation because they'll like interrupt each other in the way that people do. All of the little subtle hints of animation. Characters so often will be saying nothing and you know exactly what they're feeling and they're thinking. The music is some of the greatest music in any video game. It's just 8+ hours of incredible music. And the combat is super fun. The builds are really fun, like all of the different weapons and different intricate things that you can do to change up your build. It's just got everything. I cried a lot. I finished this right before we had to leave to go somewhere. So I was crying, turned off the stream, cried in the car on the way there, cried in the car on the way back, cried when I got home. I have never had, so I'm not going to tell you about the endings, of course. But there's different endings, right? And I watched them all. And it is so incredible that during the ending that I picked, I was like, oh my God, I've made a huge mistake. And then I watched the other ending and I was like, oh my God, I've made a huge mistake. Like both of them managed to make you feel like, oh my God, I don't know if I made the right decision, because all of the characters, all of the interactions they're not black and white. They're very gray. They are very human characters. Everyone is a little bit selfish. Everyone's a hypocrite. Everyone's looking out for themselves and their own interests and everything. It's truly a phenomenal game. And I think everyone should play it. It's really special. Wait. It's really, really special.
That's awesome. Yeah, everybody's been saying that, so
yeah,
cannot wait.
I agree.
To check it out.
I think that all the standard things. I say standard, but I'll make my point in a sec. You know, like voice acting, animation is all not only top tier, but they also elevate the genre. So like everything, like the foundation of it is all like really music, all that kind of, it's all like really, really good. But they also, I think, kind of make a game that you know, turn-based doesn't appeal to me, and they kind of hook you in with, you know, this parry like quick time event, which on paper doesn't sound super interesting, but just works. And this is like, all you need is something like that that just takes a genre and elevates a little bit, and then makes it like, you know, good for everyone. Or interesting. Like, so
yeah, I mean, I haven't, is it like actually genre bending in that sense, or is it like still just real time more real time mechanic RPG, but it's just got a cool,
well, I think
like,
it's one of those things that's so simple, but you've never really thought about having it in a turn-based before, because then it's not really turn-based, but it's kind of like, it just keeps attention throughout and adds an element of skill for those who maybe want to be a bit more active in combat.
Right.
And that was always the reason why I didn't really like it. He's like, oh, this is just like, just stat building, really. Like, I want to do
You're like,
something.
why didn't you dodge, you son of a bitch? You're like, oh, I need to put more into agility. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome.
So I think that's all. Sometimes, you know, simple changes is all you kind of need. And I do think it's genre changing, because I think when people look at this, be like, do we need this in our game? Like, I think a lot of people will be asking the question whether should we put a parry system in?
I mean,
do we need the parry system? Do we need a dodge system?
Final Fantasy's been trying it, you know?
What's so smart about this is, because you control your defense, you can take on a boss that you probably have no business fighting.
True.
And you can beat them. Like, if you manage to parry or dodge everything and you learn that fight, it does not matter how weak you are, how underpowered, how early you are fighting it. Like, you can do it.
A longer fight, right?
Yeah, and that feels really cool, because it feels like a true skill expression, instead of like only building a character out and your character being good because you built them really good. You still have that. You have really in-depth character building, but you also have true skill expression of learning fights and learning the combat.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think as a, you know, more that middle of the road team size, but a new IP that broke out, I was trying to think, can we think of any games in the last few years that kind of fit that mold? And right, like, in other words, they're pretty decent production, but not some massive budget AAA team that we were expecting, and like broke out. Because like Baldur's Gate was a big team with like a, you know, a relatively big team, I believe, with like a, you know, the alpha period and all that. So I was like, what else has done this? And
maybe Remnant?
Helldivers to
Remnant?
Remnant wasn't huge, but I think Remnant took a lot of people by surprise, and that is like a mid-sized team.
Remnant as well.
Yeah, I think both of those nail that. But what I was thinking about is how influential, like you were getting at, those really are. Like, we will now see 3 years from now the impact of this game, and that's exciting that it's this and it's not, you know, again, like some live service, which I know is my thing, but
well, yeah,
that's cool.
The devs, people are like, so DLC, what are you thinking? They're like, we put our entire existence into this game. We got nothing. We got nothing right now. Clearly this went really well, and they're gonna keep making games under like the Clair Obscure umbrella. But yeah, nothing right now. I think they're just enjoying that they managed to make this thing.
They haven't written off a DLC, right? I would assume that they would do a DLC. You know?
I don't know if they need a DLC. So without going into spoiler stuff, I think there's other things that they can do within the world that they've set up that isn't necessarily DLC, but like a whole other thing.
But sometimes games do that though, where it's in the world and like it's different timeline or whatever, but it's still like a DLC pack or whatever, you know, that they maybe could do it. But I mean, I'd be more than happy if they just developed something brand new.
I think that's probably where they're leaning more.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that'd be even better.
I think that's what they're leaning. It will make sense when you play it. You'll be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, story aside, I'm thinking mostly about the development of like, how long will it take them to do the next thing, or is there something they could do in between? It was more of that, you know, capitalize on this.
Yeah.
But maybe it makes sense to just wait 3.5, 4 years. I don't know.
Weird side thought. right? Expedition 33 had one of the most beautiful like underwater water levels
Yeah.
in video game history.
Mm.
Doom has a
Oh,
water
yeah?
level. I don't know if you felt this, Fran, but it was the very first time that I got scared of like the ocean
Oh,
in
really?
Doom.
Mm.
Like it nailed that section so like it wasn't as beautiful as Expedition 33, but it gave the scary ocean vibes really, really well. And I was like, I'm a bit fucking
I'm
scared
scared.
here. And I don't really get scared in like ocean stuff,
Hmm.
like at all. And I was like, whoa. And like I mean, that's the other thing with Doom. We didn't really talk about it. Like how well it ran. Like, I don't know about you,
Oh,
but
God,
apart from the
yeah, I
audio
mean,
stuff, but man,
Oh
it
yeah, it
fucking
runs incredibly.
Tech
and
8,
it like
that
loads
engine.
instantly. You know, you
Yeah.
wait like 3 seconds, you press spacebar, you're back in. Like it's
No, that's
such
a
a
good
good
point.
engine.
It's a tech marvel. And I think the reason
It
I
is.
mention it is because, like, as you know, we've been covering, or if you've been in the industry or whatever, doing this for a long time, like, it is just incredible. And they're such a gold standard, but I didn't even think to remind, like, yeah, they did it again, basically. I mean, this has global illumination, ray tracing stuff. It's amazing across the board in that sense.
Yeah, well, the water level is wicked.
The only,
I'm gonna have to
the
go back
only
and look
thing
at that.
graphic wise that pissed me off. Oh, you should upgrade your drivers. If you don't update your drivers, it's not going to work. You should probably do that. You should update your drivers like right now. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Game's doing that to me now. What's it doing?
It's only
Backseat me
been
fucking
Doom.
drivers.
And you know what was funny?
Well, I had another game too.
Well,
It's
you're
like, hey,
probably
you
playing
want to play?
shitty games, Myelin.
Well,
That's
they had
why.
some bugs, I think.
But
and
but
they
people
only
who
were able to
got
fix
this
them with-
driver were like, well, now my game crashes every 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I'm like,
I mean,
great.
that
So you're
happens
telling
too,
me to
man.
update my driver, which I had to roll back because the previous the driver before the most recent one was making it impossible to play a bunch of games. And now you're telling me every time I load up the game that I need to update my driver to a driver that's going to make my experience worse. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop telling
Yeah,
me what
that's
to
a good
do.
point.
I'm a
But
responsible
see, what's
adult.
interesting,
Stop it.
they probably
I'm an
fixed
irresponsible
something
adult.
for
I make
somebody
my own
else,
mistakes.
though. They fixed something for someone else, though, but then you got hit by another bug. So I don't know. That's true. It wasn't perfect in that sense, but I mean, the Tech 8 engine from them is like awesome. I can't wait to see
And it ran great
where
on
that goes as well.
like 3 times removed drivers.
Well, that's exciting.
I played a lot of the Division 2.
You
Oh,
did.
that's right. One of
Yeah.
Fran's favorite games, by the way.
Throwback.
I am interested in hearing your thoughts, Fran. I'm not there yet to give my final verdict, but it has been an interesting journey. I can give you my gut reaction.
I mean, you were
so far,
playing it
which
many
is
years after like Warlords and all that came out, but like as a package, it
Mm.
is an interesting third person,
new-
looter shooter. So I
as a
think
new
I'd rather wait
player,
till you play enough.
well, I'm gonna tell you anyway.
No,
Well, I'm gonna do
no,
it.
I mean, what are your impressions so far?
Okay, my impression so
don't need
far
to-
is so the reason I think I didn't play
Division
Division 2 is because I felt when I played Division 1, I didn't really like the bullet sponginess. I think that's number one thing that put me off.
Yeah, they're tanky.
Right.
And I just couldn't really get behind putting 2,000 rounds into some dude with a beanie on. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, oh, why?
Okay.
No, like
Some hipster with a beanie. Okay, I mean,
yeah. The suspension
they were
of was it
firefighters with a beanie. Okay.
Exactly. So, if it's going to be real, I couldn't get past that. I think Division 2 basically solves that problem. I haven't had that issue at all. I feel like you kind of level up at the right pace to, things might take a couple extra rounds or whatever, but it doesn't feel like you're sitting there for 45 minutes putting every bullet you have into like a single person. So I actually think they got that really well.
I think they balanced it over time too, because it still kind of had that. I felt when it started, but they had balance issues when the game.
Yeah,
launched,
well,
and
I don't know
it's
whether the
changed so
builds,
much.
whether the builds just keep up with the
Yeah.
enemy health now, and so as long as you're kind of like building on pace for what you've got, then it just never really felt like an issue. I think Division 2 has some of the best urban environments in a video game
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Like they are constantly just they look natural, but they obviously provide a third person cover system. But every area just looks so goddamn good. Like
Yeah,
all
it's really
the time.
slick.
It is very slick. The lighting, the sound effects, the environmental design is all incredibly good. And I think it creates moments, the Rainbow Six, universe and the tech that you have available to you is interesting enough. You know, I generally like sci-fi stuff. Like I think like a Warframe with magics and you know, obviously Destiny, that kind of stuff. Like I think it's great for video games because you can't do it in real life, you know. But you know, stuff looks really cool when you these little like seeker bombs and drones. Like they do that really well.
Icons.
Yeah, so they do that like the high tech stuff really good as well.
I'm definitely had a bit of a. It sounds
the aesthetic
good,
is
doesn't
really
it?
good. Yeah, yeah.
The Division.
Yeah, I'm definitely at a roadblock when it comes to making builds. I'm like 20 hours in, and I just want to make a build. I was like, "What?"
Feels
I
early
wanna,
to do that. Yeah.
See, 20 hours is just not early to be making a build.
You sound like
Fran.
me right now. That's too long of a game.
He's too long. So it's interesting. I want to get to a bit closer to end game, and farm for a specific thing because I think that's my thing in a loot and shooter. Like I want to make an objective, farm for something, earn it, and then you know feel that power fantasy of having that build. Right, that's like kind of what interests me in that, and I really haven't seen it yet.
Have you?
Because I haven't needed it yet either. So I finished the campaign. I've finished Warlords DLC. I've only just hit level 40, right? So I'm like early 40.
Dang.
So it's like
you do that in 20 hours though. Dang.
Starting to look at those things. Yeah.
Did you unlock any of the you know the class?
Oh no, sorry, 30 hours. 30 hours.
Okay, 30.
Yeah,
did you unlock like the different what are they? The super class stuff. What is it called?
Specializations, I think they're called.
Specializations.
Yeah. So I've got grenade launcher, I think is the one you start off with.
You have to level that up, right? And
yeah, that has its own kind of like skill tree to like level up and do. I think I have the same issue as I have with like Warframe when you get these live service games that have been going on for like 7 to 10 years. It's just trying to get your head around all the systems and like what to build and which activity. Like the map is just, I mean, I don't know if it's a real issue with Division. It's just an issue with a game that's been around for 7 years. There's nodes everywhere. You're trying to work out like where you should go. The new play experience is always pretty tough for those things. So I don't.
It is. Yeah. What the biggest
deduct points for that, but
I have for you actually. It's so many years now that have passed since I played it fresh. But like, did you ever? Well, when you played, did you have people from your chat playing with you? And therefore, in other words, did you feel like you needed to play multiplayer and have people jump in?
This is actually one of I think the Division's strengths. I think playing in a team was definitely more enjoyable.
I mean,
and still very cinematic, and it had the scaling pretty on board.
But you were playing on a team.
No, so I did probably most of it solo, but I did team up for a couple of things. Yeah.
Oh, good. But you never, and that's what, there was a scaling issue when Warlords launched even, I think, but like, it just was common where I'm like,
no, I did all Warlords solo.
Yeah, I was like, this is clearly, I was getting like shredded all of a sudden, you know?
No.
So they fixed that.
Yeah,
Good.
people were talking about how difficult I think the final boss was in Warlords, and it wasn't super tough. I would have
figured by now
solo.
they hammered that
out.
But in other words,
the balance was pretty good.
It's really nice that it has matchmaking in a lot of matchmaking settings. So if the game population's there, you'd be surprised that once you know what you're doing, again, I don't know what the population is right now, but it's pretty cool to be like, you know what? I'm going to go on a run on this level. I like the Washington Monument thing or whatever. And then you match in with just like at a hard level and you have a lot of fun just through matchmaking, even without having friends playing is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But only when you all know what you're doing and there's a population.
Yeah. So I mean, when I was playing it, a lot of the time I was just like, I kind of want this to be DayZ. Like I want us to like this. These environments look so goddamn good. The cover system and gunplay is so goddamn good. Like I kind of want this just to be a sandbox to play in. And apparently they did make a survival game in Division 1, which I might go back and check out. Like,
you mean the Dark Zone? Or
no, not the Dark Zone. They made like a survival mode in Division 1, like that, where you have to go and like collect shit to survive and stuff.
I don't think I ever had a chance to play it. It must have been after.
No, I never played it either.
Because I played
both. Interested to see what happens with it. Yeah, everyone, I guarantee everyone says survival was amazing. Like anytime it's ever brought up, everyone in chat's like survival was so good.
Oh, that sounds dope. On this topic, do you see any inspirations in Arc Raiders from Division?
Well, I mean, that's No, I think that a lot of Arc Raiders gives me Star Wars. Like I've actually just downloaded Battlefront 2. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this definitely feels like Arc Raiders.
Okay, so not as much. I did in the so the reason I brought it up and with what you're hitting on, the intro level of Arc Raiders, doesn't that feel
Yeah.
like that could be this like Division survival mode you're talking about almost? Just that moment.
Yeah.
I do think some of the other stuff feels like it, but meaning I think that's where like all these games kind of nail. I like the style, and Division is a very different type of game. It's more of an RPG. I always described it as an RPG first, and what I meant by that is there's so much like stats, which you're probably still getting into, and I don't know how they handle it, but I was like, yeah, you really got into. Have you looked at like stat pages yet that you have and like
No,
all
so
this stuff?
I think
It's
that's
crazy,
kind of
which
what I
is
want
really
to
cool.
understand now, and I think it's the part that's maybe putting me off because I found like Warframe. What got me through the first 100 hours is every time you got bored, you just switch to a new Warframe with new magic powers, basically, right? And you
Right.
just rotate through that. Whereas Division 2 at the moment, I'm just like, kind of like Diablo PoE. It's just like, I just get gear. Is that a higher number? I put it on, kind of deal.
You're
And
not
then,
chasing a
now I'm at the
particular
point now to start looking at what does a build look
exotics
like,
or
right? And exotics and pairing stuff together. So I do think that early game is a little bit repetitive, and I think it probably puts people off. I kind of wish, I don't know.
I could see that for sure. Yeah, where like it is just kind of entering you to the world, and I think it was designed in a time too where, or maybe it's not even the time, but it just wants you to like explore the city and find like in a lockbox you found like a skin for your a hat, and like that exploration at I feel like it was back then there was a lot less of that, so it was like
Ubisoft exploration. It just wants you
it
to
was
kind
Ubisoft
of
exploration. That's a good way to put it.
walk around and clear towns
And
for a bit.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
now you're getting into it. What I would say is like try to chase a play style and see if it leads you to like, oh, I really want this gun or these skill points or whatever. And if it leads you to like what happens in Division usually is you start to want to replace these stats that you really like. You're trying to get god rolls. And they got this whole
So
system
there's
with,
like a
have you touched
stat
the library
library.
system?
Yeah,
and
so we
they
start
added
looking at
that.
the stat library where you basically can pull attributes from other guns, like dismantle them to pull their attributes and then slap them on
Yeah.
a different weapon. Which is obviously like the stat building part of it.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool system.
So I've looked at gear sets and then like the exotics, the stat library,
Oh yeah, gear
and then
sets.
obviously all the mods that you unlock with it. Is there something else that
all I would
that
say
goes
is
with it?
yeah, like you're at a point where I mean, I'm not rooting for it one way or the other. It's just a lot. And like, I think if you're trying to like rush to something and you don't even know what that is yet, you know what I mean? Like, I would just say try to play it, but if it's not hooking you, it's tricky.
So yeah, this is the fight I've been getting in
because
with
it's
chat.
a lot of hours to get, I think, where you want to be.
That's my main criticism, right? Is it reasonable for a person who's not making content on it to play 20 hours of a game that's like, I like the aesthetic, I like the run and gun of it, I like the cover system, like it's all top tier, but it doesn't have the hook in yet.
But I'd say it's like
for a loot and shoot, I think you got to put that hook in earlier.
But see, I don't know. I feel like in a way the hours they're somewhat similar to Destiny. That if the problem is if you've played Destiny, it all makes sense to you now. But if you try to put like 15, 20 hours, or let's just say 20 hours, and then it's like, okay, I want to make a build. Like you'd be pretty confused at that point still. Like, I mean, I do think
I don't know. Well, you
start getting
subclass. These subclass comes out and you unlock subclass points or whatever, and you oh, it's a different grenade, it's a different thing. You know,
but
I
you
think
can do that, do your specializations. Like, but I mean, I don't know. It's not the best analogy, but I guess my point is because it is RPG like, you just got a ways to go. I don't know. Have you started doing the what are they called? Strongholds? But make sure, have you bumped up the difficulty of the world tier?
I did that. I don't know if it was because it called a stronghold. Chat might remember.
I forget.
It was like the best way to farm a thing. You just like target farm, and I pretty much got a whole gear set in one run.
Yeah, but even then, you kind of gotta want the. I mean, I haven't played in a while, so I guess we'll just wait and see. But like, getting a gear set because chat says it, a compound. Oh, countdown.
Was the
containment.
I don't remember.
Countdown.
I don't remember either of those, but I thought there was like the.
It's kind of like a raid. You have like 8 people and
Oh god, that is. Oh dude, that's a lot to take in right now, but
like
could be
being
fun.
like 4 and 4 parallel, but there's sections that you come together and go through, and then there's just like heaps of loot that drops.
No, they have like chat. What is it? It's basically like their version of like Nightfall Strikes or dungeons. Of like where it's harder. There's a number of them on the map. But I would just say like meaning you get a lot of goods from that, and there's like the weekly or whatever clears of that stuff, and maybe that should be your focus and see if it leads you to something. But play on like a harder difficulty should be, part of the fun too. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
I would say if you try to rush it, it may not come naturally. Yeah, like
I want to just understand the build crafting in the end game, and once I like have a full understanding of like the process of I want to make this build, how do I do it, and what does it feel like, then I'll be like pretty happy with my experience with it.
Yeah. Do you have like what's the accessory, like when you have the healing drone with you, and what is it called again? But do you have a favorite already? A style,
I really
like
the hive.
Yeah,
just because of how it looks. Yeah. Ballistic shield is very fun too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the drone, just the normal like machine gun
the drones
drone.
are nice. But in other words, that's like until you find a play style and say, man, I really want the cooldown on this to be good. I need more healing from the drone healing. And you literally start to chase all that stat. And then you also say, like, I like a marksman rifle with this pistol. You can't, at least for me, I had to get there that I'm like, oh, what's the exotic pistol? Oh, okay, I'm gonna go chase that.
Yeah, see,
also, though, you start saving all these stats to try to stack like cooldown.
See, I haven't felt the stat chasing yet, and I felt that in PoE. I mean, I have the same issue with PoE, which is like you got to go through a 40-hour campaign before you even bother start making any builds. But I kind of felt the stat chasing straight away. Like, okay, I want crit chance, I want crit hit, I want like whatever. I haven't really felt the stat chasing yet in
actually
Division.
like maybe I don't know what your plan was with the new DLC, but that's coming out soon, right? You might be better
next week,
off just wait and hop into that, because I assume it's a little more of a reset with like stuff to chase, so it might happen better if you just wait for that. I don't know, because it sounds like you're prepared.
I think, by the way, if you're hearing Division 2, because nearly every time I stream it, someone's like, oh, I might get Division 2 again, or I might start playing it. It's on sale for like 90% on Epic Games if you can stomach Epic Games, rather than like $80. It's like $3 or something. It's like $4.
Interesting note is that I don't think the DLC stuff's included, but apparently it's coming to Game Pass finally. It says I think May 27th, so next week. so you might be able to have the base game, and then if you want to buy the DLCs, that could be a solution if you love Game Pass as much as Miss 5000 Watts.
I don't have the Epic store either. Pisses me off too.
You can use code Fran Mirabella on the Epic store if you do.
There is a free game on Epic that I do want to try out though. There's a demo for it at the moment. It's called Deliver at All Costs.
I have seen that.
Yeah, that looks fun. It looks fun.
That looks fun.
It looks fun. The idea is that you are in like I think 1960s, and you're trying to just, I guess, drive really unruly cars and make deliveries.
Yeah,
it looks fun.
Just like Crazy Taxi, or like?
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah.
Oh, is
kind
it?
of smashing
it's got
through
a lot
buildings,
of destruction. Yeah, a lot of destruction.
Like chaotic, like
environments.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, there's a demo for it. It came out May 22nd, which is literally today. So,
well, cool.
And it's free on Epic right now, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I would wait, Myelin. You should play the DLC and then come back and report. I think that'd be interesting.
Copy that.
Are we wrapping things up or doing any?
I'm just gonna. I'll mention this game real quick, and then I think we're good. I think with wrap it up. So I was looking for. Well, I wasn't actually looking for any games, but every now and then I want to play a game that's like Papers, Please. I get the Papers, Please itch. It bites away and eats away at me, and I'm like, time to find games that kind of scratch that itch. And I've gone through a lot of them because honestly, there's not really many that do it like Papers, Please does. But one of the more recent ones is called Quarantine Zone, which launched their demo today. It comes out in September. And the idea behind this is even within their description, little blurb on Steam, it says "Papers, Please" meet zombie apocalypse. So they're clearly very inspired by it.
They were watching your stream. We're like, okay.
There's a lot of them. Papers, Please. Like I should probably explain what that is first. So Papers, Please is a game from a really long time ago, made just a super small game indie that just blew up. And the idea is that you are manning a border checkpoint and you're having to check people's documents, and as the game goes on you get more and more documents. You've got passports and all sorts of things. Yeah, all sorts of stuff, and you're having to check their hair color and their date of birth and the expiration date of their passport and their all sorts of stuff. And then if you get it wrong, you get fined for everything you get wrong. And then you have to use your finances to look after your family, give them heat, give them money and all of that stuff. And they throw different scenarios at you. So that's what that game is. So this game called Quarantine Zone, we played a little bit of the demo. And the idea is that there's a zombie apocalypse. You are the last kind of checkpoint to see if someone is healthy, not healthy, what you should do with them. And you have a bunch of tools to check if they are healthy or not. So you have a thermometer, you can check their heart rate, you can check their temperature, you can check their lungs, their breathing rate, you can look through their clothes with a little scanner, and then you've got different kind of UV lights that you can use on them. You check their eyes, their, what's going on with them. And then you have a bunch of criteria that you compare it to. So you've got scratches, you got a fever. Okay, well that means this. So then you can put them in quarantine. You can let them go free. You're trying to see if they are infected. Yeah. And or you can liquidate them.
They get liquefied?
Do they know they're getting liquidated when you send them?
No, they're like, "Oh, is this another checkpoint?" And you're like, "Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it."
Awesome.
So, and of course, if you get it wrong, you get fined. If you get things correct, you get money. And then you're trying to build out your base. You're getting more generators and more rooms and sick bays and stuff. And you're trying to manage your resources of finances while also not letting sick people in. Because if you can put them in quarantine, and you can keep them there for a day to see if their symptoms get worse or if they go away. But if you leave them in there for 2 days and they're infected, they turn into a zombie and they eat everybody in quarantine.
Nice.
So you got to be careful.
This is the demo.
This is the demo. I played the demo. Okay. It's really fun. I love all of these kind of games. I love them all. I don't know why. I like making deliveries and checking documents. I mean, that's what I like to do. I like to investigate your eyeballs. What's going on with your eyeballs, huh?
Sounds like you like a good spreadsheet.
Yeah. It's fun. It's real fun. I like it.
Nice.
They're fun to stream too, because you get it wrong, you're you send them to liquidation, and they'll be you're waiting for the pop-up to say whether they were actually sick or not.
The suspense. It's cool.
It's a good time. I like it.
All right. Is that a wrap?
Yeah, I think so. It's pretty late, so we're not going to do Twitter questions because it is pretty late. But we are 2 hours on the dot, pretty much. So
yeah, maybe we talk about it next week. But I'd shout out at least that I did do the Helldivers major update.
Yeah,
as much as
I need to talk about that.
Keep whining about live service stuff, but maybe we'll talk about it in the future. But I would just shout out, actually, solid update. They added a lot. Go check it out, and most of it is free.
Yeah, new map, new enemies, all that kind of stuff. New weapons, is it?
Next week, I'll also talk about the Stellar Blade collab stuff. They're actually doing a lot for the PC release. So
maybe that's when I'll play.
New bosses, new outfits, new modes, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah.
I'll be that.
All righty. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We will be back next week, apparently. And, I'm going to be checking out Tainted Grail tomorrow. Go check that out. So I have
What's the deal with Tainted Grail?
It is a open world RPG floozy doozy woozies. Currently it's at overwhelmingly positive. on Steam.
Huh.
So I've heard, so I was watching Fighting Cowboy's review of it, and he said that the issue that he has with a lot of these like Skyrim, Oblivion, kind of open world magic RPG types of games is that he really likes the world and the exploration and all of that is really cool, but combat can end up feeling not yeah. But in Tainted Grail, he said he really likes the combat. One, you can do like some crazy combinations of classes. But two, you've got parries, you've got dodges, and it feels like there's just a little bit more skill expression in the combat for Tainted Grail than other ones. So we're going to check that out and see how that goes. And then
Is this
next
DLC
week,
or a
no, this is a new game. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was trying to find it on Steam. I couldn't find it for some
Tainted
reason.
Grail, Fall of Avalon.
All of
But they have-
Avalon.
Oh,
Yep, it's on Steam.
okay.
Yep.
It says 2023 on it for some reason.
That was early access. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
why. Okay.
they've been in
So that
early
makes
access
sense.
for a minute. 1.0 is tomorrow. So
Oh,
1.0 is tomorrow.
interesting.
Yep.
That's cool. You'll love to hear that.
Yep.
A couple years of early access.
And then next week is Night Rain, baby.
Oh my gosh, yes. Heart palpitations.
Me, Myelin, and Tefty
Running,
are playing
fighting.
it. We have set up a play date. Fran, we're waiting for you to
Okay.
get in on our play date.
You know, I'll take the late shift if you guys keep rolling. But no, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited. It's going to be fun. I could just imagine us going, oh, God, we're getting hit by mortars. Oh, God, I lost 2 levels. Go get the boss. We got to get our levels back. Oh, shit.
It'll be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. There's also a boss. One of the new bosses that they showed off, Libra, has some like MMO raid mechanics that you have to do for the boss fight. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We might have to pull in the big guns to get Fran to solve some raid puzzles. He's the best at them.
Yeah, true.
That's not true at all. I just handle the lore around here. Okay, let's stay on.
Maybe
brand.
there's the puzzle answers in the lore, Fran. So we're
Something
gonna
like
need you to
that.
be in the back, being like, "Okay, guys, I got this. I'm figuring it out, and we can put."
Yeah, I want you taking notes.
Yeah,
I
take
am the
notes.
best with call outs that people will never want to use. They're always great ideas. People are like, that's crazy. But I'm telling you, my call out ideas are always good. They're just way too complicated.
Fran,
Anyway.
this is Fran's logic. I have the best call outs that nobody wants to use.
No, it's because it requires.
Interesting.
No, it's because people just would rather. Their answer is always everybody's just calling them this. That's not a good reason.
That's silly. We go with
Be
Bing
your own
Bang
person.
Bong.
Bing bong bang.
Well, hey, I like those.
Yeah, those
I
are
feel like
great.
I've
Will
been
be
in on
using those in Night Rain, so please familiarize yourself with the spreadsheet
Bing bang
that
bong.
shows you which is a bing, which is a
Bing,
bang,
bang,
and which is a
bong.
bong.
Bing bong.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thanks
Okay.
for joining us,
All right.
guys.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.